Welcome back, my Jedi friends, and in this video, I'm going to be asking you the question, who is draining your energy? Draining. So identifying where the drain is the key issue in starting to reverse your energy. You've got to know where your energy is going. Where is your energy going? So the simple explanation of this is that energy goes where your attention flows, or energy flows where your attention goes. So forget who's done what to you. Whatever people have done to you, they've done. But whether that affects you on an ongoing basis or not depends on how much you energize that thought. How much do we energize it afterwards? So you can't stop people from doing what they're going to do, but what you can do is influence where your mind goes afterwards, because it's where your mind goes afterwards that really dictates how people affect you. So you may have this thought in your head that people are doing this to you, and so because of that, they are causing something to happen to you. I'm going to suggest in this video that that is a very disempowering thought process. Now, I'm not judging it. It's very easy to get caught in that whirlpool. But the only way that you can reverse your energy fortunes is to take control of it. So the real question of this video is, do you want to take control of your own thoughts, or do you want to be subject to what other people do to you? Because that's ultimately the question. And that sounds really simple. You're like, Adam, no, that's not like that. People are just assholes. And that's beyond my control to do anything about. And because they affect me and they say such mean things, then I can't help but think about them afterwards. Well, to an extent, folks, there's a little bit of truth in that. But ultimately, no one control what no one controls your mind and what you think other than you. So we've talked a lot on this channel about cause and effect. Cause and effect. Somebody does this to me, I feel this way. If I feel angry, the person did this, I feel angry. So you have the choice. Somebody pisses you off, you feel an emotion which doesn't feel good. Anger. You feel pain, you feel hurt, you feel sorrow, you feel guilt. Now, what you do with that, you can either follow the path, the rabbit hole, the drain that chain of thought takes you down, or you have the power to alchemize it, which is what being a Jedi, which is what working with energy is all about. And it's really important to really clarify here. I'm not judging anyone for going down any certain routes. I'm just explaining that it is entirely within your control to take control of your thoughts and to redirect them. So if there's a river flowing one way and it's flooding people and it's going to a flood, what people do is just dig. They dig another path and redirect the river. And that's what you're going to do with your thought process here. I'm going to suggest to you that you have the power to redirect your thoughts to a better place. So let's talk about, before we even go down that route, let's talk about why you want to do that. So people do arsehole things to you, really nasty things. They say bad things, they do bad things. They could be physical, could be mental, could be abuse of some sort of description. Now they do that once and it has an impact. But where the real damage happens as human beings is the multiple damage that happens as you repeat it in your mind afterwards. So people will abuse you once, and you will then replay that abuse tens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of times in your head, thus allowing the abuse to perpetuate. And that's on you, folks, whether we want to stay a victim. And let's face it, people might do bad things to you and then they die. You'll never get a chance to resolve it face to face. So you have to learn a skill set that enables you to resolve stuff in your mind without the need of another person there. This is an advanced skill set, my Jedi friends, an advanced skill set that I'm talking about here. But it is entirely possible. It's entirely possible. Now, we've talked in previous videos that the more pain that you go through, the probably the bigger purpose and the more evolved you are as a human being. Now, you may not think that, and especially if you've been having suicidal thoughts, which is very common, folks. We've talked about the difference between being suicidal and suicidal thoughts, and there's a gulf between them. So, having suicidal thoughts is actually quite normal, folks. And you won't hear many people say that, oh my God, that's not normal, Adam. It's not normal. It's very easy to judge ourselves for thinking suicidal things. And there's a difference between flitting between, oh, wouldn't it be better if I was dead? And then jumping back to actually starting to go out and plan your suicide. So, again, I've gone on for the segue here, folks. But the point being is that our thoughts will go wherever we gravitate them towards. And you have the absolute power to change that, to influence it. So let's take something really painful. You've had a relationship split up and the person's being abusive, and maybe there's kids involved, and the kids have been poisoned against you. So here's one scenario of somebody, a friend of mine, that's having to go through at the moment. And there's always that thing that the kids are blaming him and it wasn't even his fault. And what can you do with that? Now, the temptation is continuous thought process down that route, down that route, down that route. But it is entirely possible. It's entirely possible. It's not easy, but it's entirely possible to start reshaping the way that it goes and to focus on the outcome. And the outcome is that in the long term, to have a great relationship with the kids. But that's not going to happen in the short term. The only way you can do it is set your mind to attract that later on. And that happens by not beating yourself up, by being the person that you want your kids to see, by being the person that you want your kids to know. Because there will always usually be a time, if you live long enough, that the kids will come looking for their own answers, but there may be some sort of hiatus of time involved there. So we've talked about things, and especially when narcissists are involved, there's a split up, somebody's trying to turn the kids against you, whatever. And this is just one of many, many, many situations I could use. It could be abuse of some time. Somebody could have beaten you up. Somebody could have a verbal abuse in a relationship, and you replay that over and over again. So it doesn't really matter what the incident is. Let's just take something really bad. How do you stop replaying it? Well, it's difficult, folks. I will say that, but you need people. It's like anything in life. If you're in a low energy and you hang out with low energy people, you'll get more low energy. If you're in a low energy place and you surround yourself with higher energy people, then you'll feel more inclined to drag yourself out of it. Now, we've talked about misery loves company. There's nothing better, or there's nothing more seductive that when you're in a low energy place, to find a mate that's in a low energy place and to have a pity party. So, yeah, that's terrible. That was terrible. That happened to you. They shouldn't have done that. Have the pity party, but you're going to stay in that low energy. Now, there's a time and a place for it, folks. You may want on the short term, that might feel good, might feel seductive, it may feel justified. But from an energy point of view, this is about taking control of your own thoughts. So, where is the drain? Who is draining your energy? Well, the reality of this question, folks, and it was a bit of a, the title was a bit of a sort of sidewinder for you. It's you. Now, this is the reality of it. You are the person that causes it or not. And it may be the case, we've talked about this, that the most painful things in your life you pre-planned to give you the gifts, to give you the skill set, to get you to evolve the skill set that you didn't think you'd need. Because peace and love and turning up nice will get you to a certain point, but there'll always be a situation where some people confuse nice with stupid and they start taking the piss out of you folks. And part of life's journey is to step up when that happens. And for a lot of highly sensitive people, empathic people, it will take someone else that they love to be under threat for them to really step up and get this, i.e., the kids. When there's kids involved, you'll step up for the kids. You wouldn't do it for yourself, but you do it for your kids. And it's your job to surround yourself with as many higher energy people as you can and to stay as positive as you can. And you do that by looking after yourself, by treating yourself as your soulmate, as your best mate. And let's look at what that can bring, what can contribute to that. So for people in a low energy point, it's very easy to fall out of good habits. So start implementing a few good habits into your world. So maybe you've stopped exercising, for example. Add 1 minute of exercise a day. 1 minute. Go down, do press ups for 1 minute or do something for 1 minute. Now, the reason that we do the 1 minute is because you probably can't be asked with an hour's exercise down the gym. And so what you'll end up doing is nothing at all. If you commit to 1 minute, then at least you're doing something. And if you start the 1 minute and you decide to do more, great. But it's easy to commit to 1 minute. So you start implementing something positive and something doable. It has to be sustainable, folks. You might say, a minute's too much, 30 seconds. Well, 30 seconds. Commit to a single press up, folks. Commit to something every day, something. There's a place to start. Place to start. Now, little habits that can stack the deck in your favor. Hydration. This is something that I talk about a lot. Most people are terminally dehydrated, and most of what they drink is caffeinated. So add an extra glass of water a day. Little habits, folks, that can add to your well-being or at least stack the deck in your favor. Now, these might seem so small, but how can they make a big difference? The point is, folks, the more of these little tiny habits that you add to your daily routine, the better you'll feel because they have a cumulative effect over time. And these are the sort of things. Take control. Start to replace one chocolate bar with an apple. Now, you might eat 10 chocolate bars for the rest of the week and only have one apple. But if you're having 11 chocolate bars and no apples or something like that, then tiny little changes, folks, tiny little changes, sustainable changes. And not only that, you work out, this is the most important part of all. Go through your entire network of people you know and list the top 5 most positive people and plan to spend more time with them, or at least plan to phone them to speak with them more often. Your friends can help you out of a low energy place, folks. They can help you out of it, but you have to be willing to meet them. And not only that, you have to be willing to get over the part where you're feeling like a victim. Because being a victim is what the person that did this shit to you ultimately wants. They want you to feel like a victim. You are doing what they want you to do. And do you really want to empower them with that, folks? Do you really want to empower them? You've empowered them once. The one time thing that they did to you, that's bad enough. But the repeat, being in a victim zone, that's what they want for you. They want to know that they've impacted you in a way that has affected your life. Do not give them that satisfaction, folks. Do not give them the satisfaction because you are better than that. You're worth it. And this is all about ultimately, if we put this down to one thing, this is an opportunity for you to work on the one relationship that is the most important one in your life. And that's the one that you have with yourself. So you have to become your own soulmate, your own twin flame. You have to start loving yourself in a way that you would if this was your soulmate or the person you love the most in your life. Because the person that you love most in your life will positively benefit from you having the same relationship with yourself than you do with them. And this whole horseshit about putting other people before yourself and thinking you're doing a good thing is bollocks, folks. It's a load of bollocks. It might seem very selfless. It might seem like you're being spiritual. It may seem that that is a good thing to do, but it absolutely isn't. And I'll tell you how you know that is because if the person you love the most pulled that same shit and they would look after you, but they wouldn't look after themselves, how would you feel about that? And this is the fucked up relationship dynamic a lot of healers and empaths get caught in, folks. They forget that in order to heal, that you have to start with yourself. In order to want to do good in the world, you have to start wanting to do good for yourself or do better for yourself. And if you don't get this part of the jigsaw right, everything else goes wrong. So there you go, my Jedi friends, a little wake up call today. I'm not going to give you any hints or tips because this is something that you need to sit on, you need to wake up to. Because if you can unlock this piece of the jigsaw, that your relationship with you is the most important thing in the world, everything else works. Everything else gets better from that point. This is the root cause of everything, folks, your relationship with yourself. If you get that right, you become unstoppable. And then, my Jedi friends, you are a Jedi Master if you can get that part of the jigsaw. So go forth, examine your thoughts, start planning a better route, start looking after yourself better, start adding daily little things that you can add to your routine that will add up over time. And it only needs to be small steps, folks. Small steps. One small step in a better direction is better than none. And so there you go, my Jedi friends. You can do this as quickly or as slowly as you want, but it will pay for you to put something in place and at least take one small step in a better direction as a minimum entry level to get really wake up to this. And if you get that, my Jedi friends, everything else is going to start moving in a substantially better direction, and you will feel better for it. So, on that basis, if you're catching me for the first time, if you are finding this random bald bloke coming out with the little things that may be able to help you, you might want more pieces of the jigsaw. So, I suggest you subscribe to the channel, especially if you're still watching now, and you can do that there. And if you want another one of my little ramblings, you will find that just there, my Jedi friends. But either way, go forth, feel better, look after yourself, don't let the fuckers get you down, and be better for it.